Back. The Market Theatre Laboratory has come up with an initiative under the title Take a Black Young Mind to the Theatre. Now, this project aims to bring the black youth closer to a proximity of platforms and spaces, and in this case being the theatre. Being started in February as it's also Black History Month, this initiative expected to carry over throughout the year. Now, joining us in studio for more on this is Thozama Busakwe, in-house marketing assistant at the Market Theatre. Thozama, very good morning to you. Thank you so much for joining us. Welcome.
Thank you for having me.
Now, first of all, give us a breakdown of what this initiative is all about.
All right, so I am going to start by saying that black bodies are more than just an authentic African experience. We're a little bit more complicated than that. And you will know that when you have lived in parts of the country like your rural Eastern Cape, where people really don't have access to resources, where young people end up on the streets, where young people are just taken over by drugs and everything else. And when you reach a space like the Market Theatre, you understand very deeply what it means for those young people to be given an opportunity to at least come closer to a proximity of spaces that purport to support them and platforms that are meant to be thought-provoking. I mean, there is no doubt that our youth needs to be cultured and our black minds need to be sharpened and shaped by, I guess, people who have the capacity and the ability.
So what has necessitated this particular initiative? Did you see a gap in the market wherein less young people, black people particularly, are attending theatres, or are you simply or do you need to add more figures of those attending theatres?
I mean, black people, when I first got into the Market Theatre, I was astonished at the lack of young people interacting with the theatre or even coming to the theatre. I mean, you would go and tell people about, we have a show at the Market Theatre, and they're like, where is that? What is that? And I think for me, it's like bridging a gap, and bridging also just the age gap, because a lot of the patrons that we have in the theatre are older. And I'm saying that let's give the young people a platform where they can meet with the older generation, and maybe then that could spark conversations around what do we need to do in order to advance the narratives of black in South Africa, and also using the theatre. I mean, it is a theatre. The theatre is a space of dreams, a space of desires, you know, and longings. And I mean, if we use that to be able to advance and change the narratives of black, for me, we would have done at least justice to the future generation.
You know, Thozama, I suppose everybody deserves to indulge in the splendor of theatre, but you're only targeting black youth. Why are you only targeting black youth? I mean, aren't the other groups supposed to also get a piece of the pie?
I mean, this question is coming back to haunt me. For me, it is not necessarily about not including other people. I can only speak about my lived experiences, and it is no doubt that while other people need to come to the theatre, black people and black young minds have been riding the caboose of the train for far too long, and we need to start at the root. By the time that we start being more inclusive, let us rather start with the people who don't have opportunity. I mean, Viola Davis said something very important in one of her Oscar-winning speeches. She was like, the one thing that separates black people from others is opportunity. And this is what I'm doing, giving black people an opportunity.
But since the product of the theatres is targeted at just about everybody, every racial groups and every age groups, but then why do you give the impression that the other groups are seemingly being left out?
I mean, there is no such. I think within each and every initiative, I mean, you have a target, and it's not necessarily saying that we are not going to create more programs that are geared towards inclusion and other things like that. But for me, this specific project is more towards giving voice and amplifying the voices of the voiceless, because I felt very strongly that young black people don't necessarily have that kind of a voice in the society. And we need, before we can put them in a space where we include them with the masses, we need to make sure that their voices are also validated and that their identities are cemented in the world. And I think the theater is not just a space where we produce productions, but it is a platform where we start meaningful dialogues about what it means to be black, what it means to live in this country. And I think a lot of times when we have conversations, we sort of like miss that point where we're like, what needs to be done for black people? I spoke to someone who was talking about we need to upskill the industry, and I'm like, how? How do we do that? And the how part of it becomes very, very, very much important.
Yeah. So once this project has been concluded, what then? What next? And do you envisage this to be an annual event, perhaps?
Yes, I envisage this to be an annual event, but what is next is that now we're going to look at how many young people are engaging with our spaces, how many young people actually need the market theater to vehicle some of the ideas that they have, to vehicle some of these voices, and maybe they might find themselves also producing shows at the market theater. There are no succession plans, especially when it comes to the theater. We have got a lot of older people, but not really.
We don't have much time, unfortunately, and I do understand that this project will be driven through social media. So how do we take part?
So all you have to do is to buy 2 tickets if you're an individual and go onto social media and ask your followers to either go on a quiz, or you decide basically how you give your followers those 2 tickets. But the idea is that you give it away via social media, and you are like, my followers, I've bought 2 tickets. There's a show at the Market Theatre called Paradise Blue, and you can go and watch that. So we're just pledging. We're just asking people to pledge to the cause by buying tickets, and buying tickets actually for people who would otherwise not have the financial capacity to do that.
So, okay, all right. Thozama, thank you so much for your time.
Thank you ever so much.
Well, that was Thozama Busakwe, in-house marketing assistant at the Market Theatre Laboratory, talking to us about their campaign under the title, Take a Black Young Mind to the Theatre. Do share your views and your thoughts on this and other interviews that we've had on the show. Tweet us at Morning Live SABC or hashtag Morning Live SABC. You might as well just visit our Facebook page, and we are Morning Live SABC. We'll take a quick break. We'll be right back.